When a student comes to school speaking a language other than the dominant school language, that's part of his or her identity. That's part of who they have been up to this point in time. Some students come to school speaking multiple languages. Many students may have been in refugee camps in different countries. They may have been in schools in different countries. They've learned multiple languages. And when that kind of linguistic capital is not acknowledged within the school, it's shutting off a lot of their accomplishments as not being relevant. And that communicates a message to the student that what they are is a second language learner of Swedish or English, an incompetent speaker of those languages in the early stages. Somebody who can't understand the textbooks and at the grade level. And so that's a process of negotiating identities, that if the teacher is not aware of the importance of language for the way students feel about themselves, it can have a very negative effect on the extent to which students will be willing to engage academically. And so rather than seeing students as multilingual students who have a variety of linguistic accomplishments, who have maybe had a wide range of experiences, who have got to Sweden or got to Canada based on their extraordinary intelligence, their initiative, their ability to survive and their resilience. We see students sometimes only as somebody who needs help, somebody who is deficient in the language of instruction. And when we put students into that identity cocoon, we risk diminishing them in terms of who they are and who they can be. And so, and we know also that those teacher expectations can get internalized by the students, and many of them will say, well, you know, I'm not that bright, I'm not ever going to make it to high school, I'm not going to make it to college or university, why bother making the effort? I'll go out and try and become a mechanic or do something relatively low level in terms of professional qualifications within the society. And so when teachers understand more about the crucial role that language and language learning plays in students' sense of self and in their academic aspirations, then I think they can look at ways of communicating to students that their multilingualism or their knowledge of their home language is an important intellectual accomplishment. It's something that they should cherish, that they should continue to develop. It's important also to communicate this message to parents, because parents don't know this. And so when we look at the role of language, the role that language plays in identity, there's all kinds of implications for how we interact with students and how we organize the curriculum. And this is not just at the level of the individual teacher, it's at the level of the school. Does the school have a policy in relation to students' multilingualism? Is the implicit policy communicated to students that they should leave their languages, their cultures at the schoolhouse door, that they're not really relevant in the school environment? That's incredibly diminishing of communities and individual students. And schools that take a much more positive orientation to students' multilingualism, bring it into classroom, encourage students to carry out work in their home languages as well as in English or Swedish or whatever the school language might be. For example, through writing dual language books, tend to succeed much better because students are feeling acknowledged for their accomplishments. They adopt a much more positive attitude towards their home language. They're more curious about their parents' cultural background and their experiences. And students, these schools are vibrant places. And teachers are happier in these schools.